introduce yourself.
Oh, that's right. What's up, everybody? I'm Brad.
And I'm Sean.
Tonight is our fifth and final video in our series entitled The Last 10 Years. So we're doing top 15 dramas of the last 10 years. Starting now. Sean, go. What's your number 15?
The Social Network. This one has a 96% on Rotten Tomatoes. It was Jesse Eisenberg's first big hit, and whoever knew that I could find such enjoyment out of the creation of Facebook. Brad, what you got at number 15?
I have 2018's Searching. This is a very unique and nifty movie about a guy who, wait for it, is searching for his daughter. I streamed this one at home with my wife after I missed it in the theater. It's got a 92 on Rotten Tomatoes. And now for my number 14, moving right into 2016's Hacksaw Ridge. Whoa! This is intense. Okay, I saw this one with the Australian, my wife, and a big group of people. It stars Andrew Garfield, and it's another excellent addition to Mel Gibson's directing resume. 85 on Rotten Tomatoes. What do you have for number 14?
I have Book of Eli. This one has a 47% on Rotten Tomatoes. Ouch.
They suck. They suck.
But, man, this one is... It has the legend Denzel in a post-apocalyptic environment where he's trying to transport a Bible through the desert with Mila Kunis. Gary Oldman's an excellent bad guy. That's all I got to say about that one. And then number 13, I have a recent one, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. This one has an 85% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's Quentin Tarantino. You know what to expect. Go and see it. It's just not my favorite of his movies. Brad, what you got next?
All right, number 13. We just went up a major notch already to 2015 Sicario. All right, Emily Blunt, Benicio del Toro, Josh Brolin. I don't really need to say anything else. This movie is fantastic and intense. It has an excellent sequel. I saw this one alone in the theater and pretty much either might have or actually did pee my pants in the border crossing scene. It's at 92% on Rotten Tomatoes. And then now it's my turn to rattle off number 12. This is a lot of movies tonight. Number 12 is getting in the Wayback Machine for 2010's Shutter Island. Woo! It's been a long time since I saw this one. I don't really remember the details that well, just how I felt when it was done. I remember having my mind blown, okay, and it being really creepy, like Scorsese horror light. Leo was really busy that year. He also did Inception that year, which you can see we ranked it up here on our top 10 action movies of the last 10 years. A shocking, like, whoa, this is horrible. 68 on Rotten Tomatoes for Shutter Island. This is illegal. What do you have for number 12?
I have Joker. This one has a 68%, which is criminal. But the only reason this one's not higher is just because it left me. I left the theater feeling very just bad. And but if this was a best acting list, it would be way higher. Joaquin knocked it out of the park. And then at number 11, like you said, I have Sicario. This one has a 92%. Brad, what you got next?
All right. Average Minds kind of think similarly, apparently, in this one, because for number 11, I have last year's Joker. We had that on our... we also had that on our top 10 of 2019, which you could see back there or right here in this playlist, okay? What happened to the score? It was like 90-something when it first came out, and now it's a 68. What happened? What'd you do, Sean?
Something rotten is...
I think you did it. I think you're responsible for this, Sean, for some reason. All right, cracking the top 10. This is 2017's The Greatest Showman. All right? This is the all-time definition of a guilty pleasure, okay? But I feel zero guilt. Nothing. I saw this one in the theater right before it left the theater with my entire clan. Me, my wife, and 4 kids. This is the most fun that my family's had in a movie ever, okay? Especially when you factor in the crack-like soundtrack that they're pumping into your ears, okay? This is an all-time family favorite for me. I understand it's not for everybody, but I don't even care what you think. So, whatever. This is gonna murder my Rotten Tomatoes score with a 56 though. But whatever, they suck. What do you have for number 10?
I have a sleeper. It's called Patterson. It had Adam Driver, and it debuted on Amazon Prime, and some film festivals. This one is just about an average guy living his life. He's freshly married, and he's a bus driver, just living his life in his town. This one is not a very, very plot-heavy movie, but it's just very nice just to see somebody just living their life, and it's excellently acted. That one has 96% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Nice.
And then next, at number 9, I have Rush. This one has Thor himself, Chris Hemsworth, and it's got a 88% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it's the true story of a feud that two Formula One racers had back in the 70s. Go and check it out. Really good. Ron Howard directed.
Now it's time for my number 9. And I don't think this is the only time we're going to hear about this movie tonight. It's 2012's Django Unchained. This was really, really hard to rank. A classic revenge tale, okay? This movie freaking rules. Samuel L. Jackson is like a cold-blooded top 10 villain of the last 10 years in this movie. I'm not sure I've ever wanted a movie character to die more than in this movie, okay? The standout for me, of course, though, is Leo, who seems to be running this list. And oh my gosh, the dinner table scene. Classic Tarantino. It's time for a rewatch. 87 on Rotten Tomatoes. And for my number 8, numero ocho, if you will, I have last year's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. This was the hardest movie on this whole entire list for me to rank, but I did say Leo be running this list. 85 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Number 8, I have Creed. This one, it has a 95% on Rotten Tomatoes. Michael B. Jordan is in the starring role of this soft reboot of the Rocky franchise, with Rocky training Creed, Apollo Creed's son. This one it hit all the right beats. The only reason it's not higher is just because it kind of is just retreading Rocky. But I love this, and it's a terrific sequel. And then next, I have War for the Planet of the Apes. This one has a 94% on Rotten Tomatoes. This whole series is really high up there. But awesome. Man, I think this one is just my favorite of those ones because it had the most action. Woody Harrelson was a great villain, and it just sets up the Planet of the Apes. So Brad, what do you got next?
Me and my son and my daughter watched the whole trilogy a couple weeks ago. It is awesome. Disclaimer. From here to the end is literally just like a mashup of number ones. Tomorrow I could write this list and it could totally change, okay? But number 7, I am very proud, is 2014's Boyhood. Man, this movie tore me up. It tore me up inside, okay? This is easily like the most relatable movie to this on this list, as I'm a boy who had a boyhood in the 90s. Okay, this movie hits so hard. The boy's relationship with his father, his struggle with girls, it's so relevant. And the way it was made is, there's no other movie like it. There's never gonna be another movie like this movie. I saw this on Redbox with my wife, and somehow this is underrated. I don't think people really appreciate this movie that much. But Rotten Tomatoes got it right with a 97. Time for my number 6. I feel like you're going to start seeing a lot of duplicate movies for the rest of this list from us, I think. But number 6 is 2014's Nightcrawler. Man, I saw this in the theater all myself. Such a creepy and eerie movie. I think this is Jake Gyllenhaal in his absolute prime. He plays such a weird guy, okay? And Rene Russo is really good in this as well. But it actually managed to go slightly under the radar. I think. The masses did not consume this movie. But I highly recommend it. Obviously, because it's on this list, okay? It's got a 95 on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm trying to make up for Greatest Showman here. What do you have for your number 6, Sean?
Number 6, like you said, Leo dominates the list. I have Revenant. This one has a 79% on Rotten Tomatoes? I don't know how.
They suck!
The way this movie is shot...
They suck! Okay? They suck.
The way this movie is shot is so incredible, seeing Leo go full on against a crazy, ginormous bear and be torn to shreds is incredible. It made me feel like I was there being torn to shreds. And it's just such a good revenge flick. Tom Hardy's really good because he hardly says anything, which is
good.
I guess that's just what he's really good at. So that's my number 6. Number 5, Leo dominates the list. I got Shutter Island.
Nice.
This one has a criminal 68%, like Brad had already said. I'm not going to say too much, but my mind was blown, and I just love these kind of noir movies. Brad, what do you got next?
Average minds, they tend to sort of think alike. For number 5, I have 2015's The Revenant. What the frick? That's what I'm asking myself through like half of this movie. The man is sleeping inside a horse. Okay? That poor horse, a mighty tumble did it take. Tom Hardy, so good. Leo running this list. Rotten Tomatoes, you suck. 79 on Rotten Tomatoes, ridiculous. Right into my number 4, and these are, man, literally, this could have been my number 1 last week if we just talked about it, but it's 2011's Warrior. We all knew it was going to be on this list. It's no secret. I watched this for the first time ever with Sean and Matt. Then again, I watched it last month with my oldest son. Criminally underrated and underwatched and underappreciated. If your body contains any testosterone in it whatsoever, go and watch this movie right now. Gut-wrenching family drama, epic fight scenes, unbearable amounts of heart. I personally would say Tom Hardy's best acting to date. He actually does talk some, mumble talks some in this movie. But why are you still listening to me talk, though? Go watch Warrior right now! It's on Netflix or Prime or something. It's on there right now. Go watch it after this video. 83! 83! What is happening? 83 on Rotten Tomatoes. No!
Man, Warrior's a great pick, Brad. Number 4, I have Django Unchained.
Nice.
This one has an 87% on Rotten Tomatoes. This is definitely one of my favorite movies by Quentin Tarantino. I think because it has the most plot of his movies. It's just straightforward revenge. This guy's getting his wife back, and he is on a mission to kill some of these dudes. The acting is great. Leo's great. Samuel L. Jackson as the Uncle Tom is perfect. And I don't need to say anything else. Go and watch this if you haven't seen it. Jake Gyllenhaal, like you said, at his best. Me and you talked a lot about this movie when it came out. This is definitely like a Joker movie before the Joker came out. To me, a psychopath. You just see him unraveling throughout the entire movie. He's kind of nice, but he does some things to get ahead in his business. That's all I'll say. And he's good at what he does. Man, this one left me with a sinking feeling as well.
2014's Whiplash. Mother frick! J.K. Simmons. This is like the most intense movie on this list. So many people haven't seen this. It's got multiple Oscar nominations. My gosh, this is amazing. Even if you don't play drums, go watch this movie right now after Warrior, okay? But holy fazoli, not with your kids around, okay? I saw this one in the theater, either alone or with my wife, I don't remember. And Miles Teller, he's actually got a good movie on his resume. That's pretty exciting for him, you know? He's got a 93 on Rotten Tomatoes. Time for my number 2. It is, oh my gosh, the amazing Creed from 2015. Crap, this is so good. I'd say this was the biggest surprise for me actually on this list. I actually had no expectations. I kind of forgotten about. I never thought I would have another new Rocky movie. I saw this one alone but in a packed theater. It is near the very top of my all-time theater experiences. People were cheering at the end. The POV shots in this movie are awesome. And Creed 2 almost made it on this list too. Okay, I'm a massive Rocky fan. I'm even a defender of Rocky 5. If you ever need a defender for Rocky 5, you just call me. This even got Sylvester Stallone to act. So awesome. 95 on Rotten Tomatoes. Sean, what's your number 2? And then we're going to roll into a few honorable mentions real fast.
Oh, it's got an 80% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's Prisoners. Dude, this movie, Jake Gyllenhaal, Hugh Jackman, they're so good. The acting in this movie is just top notch, above so many others. This one shows the length that a father will go to protect his children, and he'll do whatever's necessary. Jake Gyllenhaal is an awesome detective in this movie. Doesn't play by the books. Willing to do some things that are a little questionable, but Hugh Jackman definitely goes over the line, and you got a crazy, evil villain in this one, and then the ending is a shocker. Brad, you want to go ahead and tell us your 4 honorable mentions?
I do, actually. Thank you for offering. I appreciate that. I'm going to burn through these suckers real quick. Some of these would have made... 2 of these were like on the list and off the list and back and forth. But for the first one, I've got last year's The Irishman. It's another one of my top 10 of 2019. Then I have... Look, I did it, okay? I just went ahead and did it. 2015's The Force Awakens. To not have a Star Wars, any Star Wars, is punishable by death, okay? And so, it's like an honorable mention in the honorable mentions. And now, this is 2 movies that, like I said, we're bouncing back and forth off my list. Oh, 2017's Wind River. Just when I say it, it makes me wish I'd put it on the list, okay? Jeremy Renner is great. It's a quiet and intense movie with a really cool ending. And it's Elizabeth Olsen is really good in this as well. And lastly, I have 2015's Southpaw. Jake Gyllenhaal running this list. This is an emotional kick in the ball bag. That's all I have to say. Okay? What do you have for your honorable mentions?
Okay, I've got Searching. You already talked about this one. Really good. Cool way that the movie was shot, all through the lens of webcams. And then next, I have Looper. This one is Ryan Johnson's. Really good movie about time travel. And then next, I have Interstellar. Another really good one by Christopher Nolan. It's probably one of his weaker ones. Just the plot didn't really make too much sense, but the visuals and the soundtrack are amazing.
Respect.
And then lastly, I have Moonrise Kingdom. This one's a Wes Anderson movie about coming of age kid escaping Boy Scout camp with a fellow Girl Scout. Wacky, it's weird, it's Wes Anderson.
Now it's time for the moment you've all been waiting for. It's time for Sean to flip a coin off camera.
Tails.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We already know.
It's tails, everybody. That means I'm going first.
Heck yeah. Spit it out, man.
My number 1, it's easy. 83% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's Warrior. This one is Tom Hardy and Joel Edgerton. So good. Family drama. Just rips you to shreds, this one. Get some tears. Just because the acting is so good and it's just so dramatic. That's why it's my number 1 drama.
Heck yes.
Some excellent fights, some real world issues in there, and it just all comes together so perfectly with a great ending.
All right, we can't let the video continue without one of us having mentioned Nick Nolte's, I'm pretty sure, Oscar-nominated performance in that movie. He really is the emotional driver of that movie, the dad. It's time for my number 1. Sean knows what it is already. I already knew what his was. My number 1, 2013's Prisoners. Very few movies have I recommended more often than this movie, okay? Hugh Jackman, Jake Gyllenhaal doing their part to run this list. This movie is fantastic. This movie is me, okay? If my daughter ever got kidnapped, except for I'd probably die within like the first 15 minutes of what this movie puts out. Don't mess with my daughter. From start to finish, this movie is flawless, okay? It is tied in my opinion with Shutter Island for the best ending on this list. Go watch Prisoners tonight. You've got a night full of movies, people, all right? This is an 80 on Rotten Tomatoes, which is total garbage, okay? Total garbage!
Okay, well now it's that time to see who won the Rotten Tomatoes battle. Ding, ding. What do you have as your average Rotten Tomatoes score?
This is embarrassing. I have an 83.66 repeating.
Ah! I have 83.5.
Yes! Yes!
No!
Yes! I got you again! Do not ever mess with me.
And make sure that when you're watching our weekly content, you're always watching from a distance.